don't go all wonky.
Those eyes?
Yeah, those eyes.
Okay. So do we want to say why you're wearing sunglasses?
Sure.
Okay. So we're just going to start. We're going to say...
Well, we could say I'm 42 and I'm not good at taking selfies and my eyes go everywhere. So if I'm wearing my sunglasses, you can't see them. And I look like a semi-normal person.
Okay.
Semi.
So
who wears sunglasses inside.
For this episode of Strong Topics, I wanted to talk and have Jen explain her story and her recent weight loss of over 55 pounds?
Almost 60, 59 pounds.
So our intention, I want to make very clear and state before we even start this, we are not trying to sell Jenny Craig, kettlebells, beautiful strength, me. We are trying to just share someone's success in hopes that it inspires someone out there. So, Jen, how did this recent major weight loss start? How did it happen?
Well, it all started 41 years ago, really. I mean, I do feel like so I people say I've been overweight my whole life. I literally have been overweight my whole life, or I've had food issues my whole life with wanting, binging and one of the first memories I have is of like being in trouble for eating too much birthday cake. So like this, I feel like it took everything in my life to get me where I am right now. So it's just, that sounds kind of corny, but I would say that this year I started, totally not my style though, but with like a kind of not a New Year's resolution, but just being like, this was the year to like focus. And I think I've spent a lot of the past couple years working with you and really sort of embracing the concept of what is beautiful strength. I've talked about this with you before, but I was always trying to rush into a diet and then just sort of repeating these power plays in my head where, it's like I was a kid and I'd be restricted from food, so I'd feel punished and then I'd find a way to sneak it and then eat too much of it. And it's this sort of played out over and over again in my head. And yes, I'm 42 and should be over it, but like those neurons, they create habits, and mine knew to fire up when I ate too much food. It was, it was this source of pleasure and comfort and everything for me. So it took me a long time to start to be able to appreciate what my body could do, and then start to think of losing weight as not as a way of punishing or of restricting or taking something away, but as a way of taking care of myself and sort of indulging myself to be able to do things I want to do that I can't, or couldn't at the former weight. So
Jen and I've been
I'm a
working
rambler.
together.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. We've been working together with like over 2 years or over that.
Yeah.
And Jen was making just incredible progress. And it was, what month was that I said to you, hey, what's going on?
It was beginning of this year when I think it was the end of last year. It kind of kicked off this thought process that led to where I was today.
She normally would come in for her workouts and just be like super enthused no matter what we were doing. She just had this gung-ho attitude, and for about a month I noticed that she just lost this fire in her, and I didn't know how to say anything without, I went back and forth, like I don't want to tick her off, but I need, like, this is my job, I need to kind of bring this to the surface. So I said to her in a session, like, what's going on? You've not been yourself. We've got to figure this out. And from your point of view, how did...
Well, so I remember, I think part of it was like, I feel like you've given up on yourself. And at the time, very sincerely, was like, nope, I haven't given up on myself. I feel like I've made peace with this is me, which is an important thing to do. But that's not really what I'd done. What I'd done was give up on myself. And, I was like, I can't do this. Why even try? And I remember feeling like I'm having this very rational conversation with her, and she thinks one thing, but she's wrong. So I'm just, I didn't like get upset or anything. I was just very like, that's, this is my body and there's things I can't do, and I've been trying to change it for, 40 years and it's not changing. So,
meanwhile, I'm stewing internally.
I'm sick of beating my head against the wall. But I went home and thought about it and came to the conclusion that, that you were right, that I'd made so much progress in being proud of what I could do, being proud to deadlift 305 pounds, and and proud of even improving my body weight exercises and stuff. But I was still, I had that pride, but I was still kind of beating myself up a little bit about like, you can't do anything else, And when I sat down and was honest with myself, I was like, not only am I giving up, but, because I do truly believe that people can be healthy at any size, and people have different motivations and life situations, and, I'm not judging where anybody else is. And I think I get so caught up in that sometimes, in being able to say, nope, for me, want to lose weight. I can't really say I've been lucky with health, probably because I've always worked out. All those things that you hear about overweight people, all the health risks, luckily for me, haven't materialized, and I'm getting on in age. But there's so many things I want to do that I can't, I'm still losing weight, but I was definitely letting my body hold me back. So whilst I was proud of what it could do, I was also using it as an excuse.
I think that conversation was one of the most pivotal in our relationship.
Yeah.
I was freaking terrified because I love her so much that I didn't want to tick her off, but it was a very emotional conversation.
Yeah.
I don't know I was probably crying because I cry all the time, but
I cried later. Like I said, in the moment, I felt like I was like this really, like, I've come so far. Like, it used to be any mention of the fact that I had a body at all, like any time I could tell somebody was looking at it, would just send me into a tailspin.
That was, I think, on a Thursday, and then you came in on Tuesday.
Yeah, and like I really sat with it over the weekend, and I think I did probably cry a little bit when when you realize the limitations you've been putting on yourself. And then it was also in conjunction, and we've talked about this before, with reading a book. And I personally am not really big into the self-help books, but I started reading this Brene Brown one, and I love the way she writes.
Shout out to Brene Brown. We love you. You're a beautiful strength.
And she had, there was a sentence that I loved about, like the gist of it was like, everything you do, all of your bad habits, no matter what they are, no matter who you are, they started out as a way of taking care of yourself.
Tweetable moment right there.
So, while this distorted way of taking care of myself and binge eating that I had for so long was having negative consequences, and it's something that I was always so ashamed of. When I had that, and looking back at just my thought process throughout life, it was me taking care of myself. It was me saying, hey, you had a bad day. You've moved to a state where you know no one. It's 900 degrees outside. The only comfort you can have right now is a giant whole pizza yourself. Like, that was me taking care of myself. And so it was like
guilty
this process of recognizing that, and not having just be like, thank you for trying to take care of me, but I need something else right now.
So after that conversation, and you sat and really thought about what was going on, she came in and decided to start a pretty strict diet, and that's what has really sparked this major weight loss. And I've never seen her so committed to something and 100% focused and committed, and it's been just awesome to watch you do it. But what would you say are the biggest struggles so far that you've had, and then the biggest successes that maybe nobody knows about?
The biggest sort of superficial struggle is I miss beer so much. Those moments of, hey, trying to, I look at, I'm like, how do normal people, they just go out to dinner and have beers and pizza and like don't gain it, I mean, they may gain weight, but like they don't end up like, you know, so overweight. So I miss that sort of flexibility and freedom. And there certainly are weight loss programs that would allow you to do that. For me, I purposely chose one that was, you know, I wouldn't say strict, but very well defined. Like I get a menu every week and food, and this is what I eat. And obviously that's not what I'll do all the time. And, you know, but that's, you know, that's what I needed. I needed that structure because I needed basically to take some of my thought processes out of it. But, you know, I talked to you at the time because I remember being like, I know, like this.
She was so scared to tell me that she was going to do this.
This isn't like up Alex's alley. And I get that. Like, I am in no way like raw food, clean eating. Like, I microwave a lot of my meals right now. But I also eat more fruits and vegetables than I used to. So, but yeah,
I try to stay away from strict diets just because of what happens after, and it's not maintainable. So she was nervous to tell me, but I knew that she was at a good place to do it. And so I was like, Jen, you know, I'm going to support you no matter what. I think this is a good thing for you. And I want to make it clear also that I think it's very common in fitness right now where people try to, there's one answer and there's one way to do something, and it doesn't work that way. Everyone is on their own journey, and sometimes something so strict that I necessarily wouldn't always agree with or want a client to do, it's working for someone, I'm supportive of it. So there's so many different ways to get to your end goal, whatever it is. And it's about being mentally, I think, in that right headspace before you do it.
Like I remember saying to you, like I would have to like have like a 2-hour conversation with somebody before, if they, not that anyone's going to, but if someone were going to ask me to recommend what I'm doing diet wise, I really would want to make sure they're in the right headset, because I kind of touched on this before, but if I had done this a year ago, it would have been a disaster, because I still would have been internalizing it as punishment, as restriction, and then, you know, eventually, not even eventually, 2-3 weeks into it, it would have been my need to take care of myself, show myself some love by, you know, head first into pepperoni or something.
Head first into
yeah, seriously, all the milk duds and Made in America ever. But because, you know, we've worked together and we've had such good conversations and see and you know,
been on a soul journey together.
Well, that's a little woo for me, but you know, these kettlebells teach you who you are, and they taught me that I am strong and that there's good things about my body. So I you know, I've made this mental switch, and I was approaching it with, this is me taking care of myself. This is, you know, this is me, you know, doing something positive. This is giving me comfort. This is giving me happiness. Maybe not as immediately as you know, donuts, which do give you happiness no matter what anyone tells you. But so I was, you know, I think you have to be in that right mindset. Otherwise, it's just this drab, you know, sad thing every day to count your almonds, and you know, you can it can feel like you're just like so painted into a corner with the diet if you don't have the right mindset, no matter what it is, no matter how flexible it is. But so I kind of went, you know, extreme and went with very regimented and prescribed, but also feel like there's freedom here too, because I'm finally breaking those, you know, addiction is the word that I have to the biochemical process that fires in my brain when I sit in front of the TV with like grocery bags full of food to eat.
What are the successes that you've experienced, even the small ones that?
You know, I think actually being vocal about what I need and being honest about it. I actually just had one today where they're going out to lunch. They're going for Mexican tomorrow, and at work, some people, and I actually don't want to go anyway, but I was, you know, trying to think of how not to say I'm on a diet and I can't go, and I was just like, you know, no, this is me taking care of me. What I need right now is to not go to Mexican food. If I'm going to splurge on Mexican food, it's going to be with you, not my coworkers. So, like I feel like the success is in realizing how to balance treats and, striving towards that 80-20 rule. I love clothes size getting smaller. I have a lot to lose, so it happens not as fast as people that have less to lose, but that is exciting.
And what are you doing for your reward system? Like, when you lost like 25,
Yeah.
what have you been doing?
So when I lost, at first, like 10, I think I did like a manicure, which I very rarely do. And at 40, at 40, I got the light for my face.
Yeah.
But I didn't really do anything for 50. I don't have anything planned for 60. I mean, I think my big reward for this whole year is I'm going to Italy in October, so that's kind of what I tell myself now is the goal.
I like the
And when I get
rewards.
to my ultimate goal, I'm gonna chop my hair off into a pixie cut. That's like
I'm excited
I'm
for
really
that.
excited about that.
So her goals or her rewards for hitting these goals have been not food based or workout or fitness. It's been glam stuff that you like and
Yeah.
beauty stuff, which I thought was really, I like that idea. And if you could talk to directly people that are watching this that have the same struggles or are needing motivation or need to be inspired, what would you tell them?
So I think it's something that's said all the time and that I certainly heard, but it sounded like, frankly, like bullshit to me. Was like, you have to start by not hating yourself. You can get a little far. You can get so far on hating yourself. I mean, I starved myself thin when I was a freshman in college, just pure hate. But I gained it all back. I changed nothing. I swapped an addiction to eating too much for an addiction to not eating anything. You can't get around that. You can't shortcut around it. You can't decide you're gonna like yourself. Not like love yourself 20 pounds from now or 30 pounds from now, or think that it's gonna come like. And I think, as I've alluded, I'm not really a woo-woo self-help soul journey type person, but I found it to be very true. You have to start. You can't fix the outside before you start with the outside, and at the very least, just start by recognizing that where you are. You did your best. Your coping mechanisms, your reward systems are flawed, but they were there and they helped you, and now it's time to say goodbye to them and introduce new ones, and be really appreciative of what your body can do. For the vast majority of people, if you can walk, be appreciative of that, right? Like, just be glad for that movement and do everything you can to increase that movement. And I always think one of my things is like, when I'm 80, I want to be mobile still, and that starts now. So I want to be able to move as much as I can. So I would think about it that, we get so much pressure about, especially women, to be conventionally attractive, to be thin. And, I've said to you, like, I'm 42, I've been overweight my whole life. I'm never going to look good in a bikini. That's not motivation for me. And above and beyond that, like, I'm contrarian. So I kind of want to be like, screw everybody for telling me I should look good in a bikini in order to be attractive. So that was never good motivation for me. And then a lot today, especially increasing today, you get a lot of like health shamers. Like, I only make fun of you. I'm only calling you fat because I'm worried about you. Well, unless they're your doctor, they don't know anything. So that's not good motivation, right? Like, the only thing that ever did to me is make me want to, piss me off and be like, how about you watch me eat 2 hamburgers now? So it has to start within. You have to sort of radically accept yourself as you are, which I think I'm maybe stealing from Brene Brown there again. But
Shout out to Brene Brown.
just sit down and decide. I mean, it sounds cheesy, but decide to make that mindset that you love yourself, and that you love yourself so much you're going to start to do this thing to take care
Wonder
of you.
Woman is Jen's motivation. When we flip tires, I'm like, you're Wonder Woman.
I love Wonder Woman.
And being a badass motivates Jen.
Yeah.
And
I do. I like feeling like I can flip random people on the street.
cars,
Yeah.
small buildings.
Save children.
So do you think it's safe to say that a lot of this is you finding the beauty and strength inside?
No, absolutely. I mean, that's the key, right? Like, it's not, yeah, I know. But, I mean, to me, that is, beautiful strength sounds nice. It's a great name, and it's very poetic, but it's fundamental, and you kind of have to realize that in yourself again. It's about that sort of, you find that strength through realize, and your beauty through that sort of, okay, I love myself enough, I'm ready to do what's going to work for me now. Say goodbye to old habits. They're nothing to be ashamed of. We were trying our best to take care of ourselves in the way that felt right and that we knew how. But
for an extra reward, we should go to the movies and just get Milk Duds.
no. See what happens here?
Well, you said Mexican food. I don't want to get Mexican. Let's get Milk Duds. Jen knows when you go to the movies with me.
Nachos all day.
Oh yeah, nachos.
But no, I think this has taken a wrong turn.
This is yeah.
No, but I mean, that is a fair question, because I'm going on vacation in 3 weeks, and I, talking to my consultant at Jenny Craig, I'm like, I'm not taking your travel food with me to heat up and.
No space chicken.
I'll try to make good choices. I'm going to have beers with my cousins on the boat because life is too short not to.
#balance.
The key there, the real victory for me is then going to be coming back and getting back on the program, or back into my structure, no matter what that program might be. And that is going to be, when I do that, that's going to be a huge victory. That's going to be a life-changing moment for me to show myself that it's I mentioned 80-20, but that yes, you can live, most of the time making really good choices, keeping really good track, et cetera, but, life's too short to, not occasionally go to a cookout and have a hamburger, or go to the movies and have some Milk Duds. So, I appreciate that the program I'm on, eventually you sort of move away from, as you lose weight, you move away from structure, so you learn to make those choices for yourself. And, I have a long-term plan for which plan I want to use eventually to give me the most flexibility while also making good choices. So
We just want
talk to me in 3 weeks and see see how the vacation goes.
A huge congratulations for 60 pounds lost.
Well, I want to thank you.
Shush. I love you so much. She's
Gonna
been
make her
kicking.
cry.
Yeah. She's been kicking butt in her workouts, and things are easier now. Or
Oh
what?
yeah. The body weight stuff is easier. Some of it's just confidence, though. I mean, it's not just the weight loss. It's kind of the confidence that comes with it. And one of my problems I had was this kind of held myself back sometimes because I was so afraid of hurting myself. Just when you know how much you weigh and you go to try to stand on your hands, you're like, oh my God, my poor shoulders. So, having a little more confidence, and as some of that weight comes off, now I'm like, damn right, look at those shoulders, So,
I love it.
yeah.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
You are.
Well, this is
my
very
beautiful
uncomfortable for me. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Thank you.
So, thank you for listening to our Strong Topics featuring One Take Blake.
Thank you.
We just recorded that Strong Topics video. I trained Jen and she just left. And I wanted to record this and put it at the end, and this will be a little surprise for Jen. She gets very uncomfortable when I compliment her, so if I would have said this, she would have been very uncomfortable and not would have wanted to look at me or the camera. But Jen, it has been such an honor and one of the best feelings to watch you through this process in finding your own beautiful strength and transforming into the version of yourself that you are right now. I am beyond grateful that I've been given the opportunity to be walking beside you on your journey. I adore you, and I cannot wait to see where this takes you and where we're going to end up, how many tires we're gonna flip. You have come so far, and I am already so impressed and inspired by you. You inspire everyone here in the studio, and That video, I think, captures exactly what Beautiful Strength stands for and means, and my purpose in life and what this studio wants to do is just show people the beauty and strength that they have always had inside. Through life, I think we all lose that sometimes, and you've gotten back in touch with that and you see that, and I couldn't pick a better person to represent what Beautiful Strength means, and I love you and I am so proud, and here is to 60 pounds down. I love you.